by investigator Arthur Reed. We have the honor of representing the families of Jacoby Pillar, Kevin Smith, Gary Smith, and Christian Smith. From Jacoby Pillar family, we're going to have his sister Octavia Wagner address you, as well as Ari Pillar address you. Then we're going to have Christian Smith's mother, Deborah Smith, address you.
No, she said it right. You know what they're doing?
Deborah Smith.
Yeah.
We have Deborah Smith, who is unrelated to Kevin Smith and Gary Smith. Gary Smith's brother, who is also the father of Kevin Smith, is going to address you on his behalf, and his mother, Tracy Woodson Smith, is going to address you on behalf of her baby boy, her youngest son, Kevin Smith. And it's really tragic when you think about Miss Tracy Woodson Smith and Kevin Smith Sr. They lost 2 family members in the Harris County Prison within a month's time. And so we're here to ring the alarm because it is appalling. It is appalling that you will have 32 detainees die in the Harris County Jail in a 14-month period. I mean, nobody really would believe it unless you had these bodies that showed you it was really happening. On average, it's 2 people a month dying in the jail here in Houston. I mean, I can't even fathom what excuse they can come up with to try to explain or justify losing so many detainees in the county jail. We are here to announce this morning that we are making a formal request to the United States Department of Justice to open up an investigation into what is going on in Houston, Texas at the Harris County Jail. I had the pleasure of speaking with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who is the ranking member of the Criminal Justice Committee in the United States House of Representatives, who is joining us in making this request to the Department of Justice, because Houston, we have a problem in the Harris County Jail. And we cannot continue to look the other way, because how many people have to lose their sons and daughters, their brothers, their sisters, their husbands? How many more before we say we have to do something? I mean, when you think about the fact that Miss Deborah Smith's daughter had diabetes, she had medical issues. They talked about it. And the fact that they would deny her daughter medical assistance and medicine that they knew she needed is reprehensible. We think about Jacoby Pillar, who really, when you think about it and you hear from his family, misdemeanor trespassing. I mean, he never should have been there in the first place. But you're going to hear from Attorney Grinke, who talks about reasons we believe that he was not, his death was not due to natural causes. And as we all know, recently, there was a guard who was charged with manslaughter in the death of another detainee in the Harris County Jail. You're going to hear from Ari Pillar, who is a sister to Jacoby Pillar, who's going to talk about when she worked at the Harris County Jail in 2021, how she witnessed altercations between guards and detainees that tells you that this is a pattern, this is a practice, this is a culture in the Harris County Jail. And so we know in 2023, in the technological age that exists in American society today, that there is video surveillance throughout that jail. What we're demanding is transparency so we can get to the truth and we can get to justice. Because as his mother said, Kevin Smith Jr. was in good health. There was nothing wrong with him, as his father says. So it's inexplicable why their son is dead. And so these are the things that we're grappling with. We are going to get to the answers of it. We are not going to continue to let these detainees, who are disproportionately black and brown detainees, be killed at the very hands of the people who swore oath to protect and serve them and give them their constitutional right to due process. The guards can't be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. I know Warren Randall, who's also here, lost his son, is going to talk about the brutality of black people being detained by law enforcement officials, whether they're in the jail or they're out the jail. It seems to be this pattern and practice of brutality that's happening with the Harris County Sheriff's Department. And so we have to get to the bottom of it. We can't have two families dead in 1 month in one jail. Unacceptable. We can't have people who have contusions and abrasions on their body, but yet they say we can't explain the death. Well, if you look at your video, you can explain the death. You don't need to say no more, just release the video. At this time, Attorney Paul Greinke, who's a great lawyer here in the state of Texas, who is working with us on trying to bring all of these families forward to justice. Because at some point, and Ms. Smith, I don't know where Kevin's daughter is at,
Right here.
but at some point, and you all can come up, at some point, she's gonna ask, what happened to my daddy? And her grandmother and grandfather are gonna have to give her an answer. And we want the answer to be the truth, and that he did not die in vain. Because if it happens again after today, then shame on all of us. Not just shame on the Sheriff's Department, but shame on all of us if we continue. I mean, it's only February and already 4 this year. It was 28 last year. What is going on in Houston? And so we're going to get to the bottom of it, because she deserves the answers, and we're going to help you answer these questions, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. At this time, you're going to hear from Attorney Paul Greinke.
Thank you. Good morning. I'll be brief. The law says that if a person is a detainee who has been convicted of nothing yet, they are innocent, that any treatment that they receive inside the jail that may be considered punishment is unconstitutional. These families have lost their loved ones whose civil rights to life and liberty were violated. We believe we will prove in the courthouse that both the conditions of confinement have led to these detainees' deaths, and both the actions of the correctional officers and authorities have led to their deaths right under the sheriff's nose. And if it happens long enough, it's with the sheriff's acquiescence. We have credible reason to believe that Jacoby Pillar died from compression asphyxia, from being restrained, similar to George Floyd.
My Lord.
We have also credible reason to believe that there will be evidence that he was beaten multiple times by correctional officers. We also have credible reason to believe that Kevin Smith was beaten while he was detained.
My Lord.
Okay? We believe that this is a pervasive pattern and culture of death inside this jail. Mr. Crump, we have seen, has been in Memphis. He's been in San Antonio. There are other jurisdictions where we believe that the authorities and the mayors are starting to get it right. Be transparent.
Yeah.
Show us the video. Come talk to the families. Invite them into your office and tell us what happened. Here, again and again, the Harris County Jail and the sheriff and the county have hidden behind the word investigation.
Tell it.
We're investigating. We can't tell you anything yet. Well, we're investigating too. And these families are sitting here looking for answers. So I call upon transparency, and I'm honored to work with Mr. Crump here and on behalf of these beautiful families.
Thank you, Paul. I mean, you can't just keep beating us to death and don't expect us to stand up and say no more. And so I know we're working with a lot of the civil rights organizations here in Houston, Texas. We're going to continue to demand transparency. That's the very least you can give these families. I mean, why can't you show them the video, show the community the video, so if there were mistakes made, we can try to correct them to prevent it from happening in the future. We don't need to say no more, just show the video. Don't 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 say no more, just show the video. And that's what we want, transparency. I mean, we want to know what happened to Kevin Smith. We want to know what happened to Gary Smith. We want to know what happened to Christian Smith. We want to know what happened to Jacoby Pillar. We have the right to know. Harris County, we have the right to know. And so at this time, you're going to hear from the families, and obviously this is very emotional for them. They didn't sign up for this, but they have said they're going to fight to get justice for their families. So they're going to do the best they can. First, you're going to hear from the family of Jacoby Pillar. You have his sisters, Octavia Wagner, and you have Ari Pillar, who are going to address you. And the other family members, if y'all want to come and stand with them.
My name is Octavia Wagner. I am Jacoby's oldest sister, and I will always be here to fight for Jacoby, to demand answers. We believe Jacoby was murdered here in Harris County Jail. And no one should receive a phone call, no one telling them that their loved one is deceased and no answers, giving me an email to tell me to follow the email and the links to get answers. It's been 7 weeks and we have not been notified or told anything. We demand answers. We demand change, not only justice, but change here in Harris County. Not just for Jacoby Pillar, but for all these families, every single person that has lost their life here in Harris County from neglect, from abuse. We need to stop. We need to be holding these people accountable for what they're doing to these black men and black women of all color. It's time for a change. I'm not only mad and upset at Harris County, I'm mad at Ed Gonzalez, the sheriff, at Mayor Turner, at the state of Texas, Houston, Texas Department of Criminal Justice. They have all failed every single person that has died here. We demand answers and change.
Thank you so much.
It's okay. I'm Ariana Pillow. I'm the younger sister of my brother Jacoby Pillow, who was murdered here in Harris County Jail. In being a former employee in Harris County, working for pretrial, I've literally witnessed correctional staff mistreat detainees because they were in need of insulin for diabetes or other medical issues, and I've literally witnessed them be the reason for altercation taking place between them and detainees, and it's not fair and it's not right, because our brother and nobody deserves to go through what we're going through. We haven't gotten any answers from Harris County, but like my sister said, a link for us to follow. Nobody has reached out. Nobody has gave their condolences from the county. Nobody has given us anything, and it's not fair and it's not right. And with this taking place, we just want change. We'll never get our brother back. Nobody here will ever get their loved one back, but it doesn't deserve to keep on happening. And I wouldn't wish this pain on anybody.
It's traumatic. It's traumatic.
Thank you so much, Ari. And I thank you so much, Octavia. She is right. We don't want just to get justice for the families. We want change so it doesn't happen to anybody else. Obviously, these deaths are preventable. If you had, and Attorney Grinke, you correct me, in 2021 it was 22 deaths. In 2022 it was 28 deaths. And now in 2023 we on record to break that number from last year with 4 deaths, 3 of them occurring in January. And so you do the math. 32 deaths in since 2022, 14 months. And then you add another 22 deaths the year before that. I mean, you have over 50 families who lost their loved ones. Houston, we have a problem. We have a serious problem. And so now you're going to hear from Miss Deborah Smith, the mother of Christian Smith, a mother of 4, who, again, like Jacoby, you scratching your head saying, why is she in prison? She was trying to protect her children from a group that was trying to beat her up. And that's what she was doing. She ended up in prison. I'm sorry, end up in jail. And then she ends up dead. So Miss Deborah Smith is going to talk about her beautiful daughter, Kristen Smith. And Tiff, yeah. Here, you want to hold this for Tiff?
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of my daughter, Kristen Nicole Smith, and my 4 grandchildren. The youngest is 7 years old. Tell me, put yourself in my spot. How do I explain that she's never, ever coming back to a 7-year-old? Harris County Jail, you need a lot of changes. If you cannot keep them alive or take care of them, release them or shut down. I'm calling for them to be shut down. Another entity come in and take over. I don't know what the protocol is. If you cannot keep them alive and you can't keep them safe, I need every official there removed and replaced. When you talk to people that have been transferred to TDC, they speak of, they tell their families how much happier they're there. Harris County Jail, y'all doing something wrong. Don't worry about me, moms and dads and family, because it's clean here. We're being fed real food. Nobody is harassing us, beating us up. Harris County, y'all need help. Harris County Jail, you need help. Why is it that my daughter, that has to be, anybody that's familiar with diabetes, your glucose has to be checked periodically, before eating, after eating. That you couldn't even get her the basic of her treatment, the insulin. It's no way when she arrived at the hospital. My understanding that her glucose numbers were 20. She was gone. I know fixing dilated. She was only moved there for purposes. She was gone 20, no. Broke 6 ribs. That's excessive. You knew she was gone. She was gone.
My Lord.
So what I'm seeking now is, I need answers. Her children are not ready for answers right now. But when they're ready, I want to have answers when they're ready to talk about what happened to their mom. Trying to save them from a gang of children jumping on her daughter.
My Lord. Thank you so much, Deborah. And we're going to help to get you those answers. At this time, we will hear from the parents of Kevin Smith Jr. and the family of Gary Smith, who both died in the custody of Harris County Jail within 3 weeks of each other. This family had to have 2 funerals because of the malfeasance of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. It's so unfair. 2 family members in less than a month dead at the hands of the Harris County Jail officials. So you will hear from Kevin Smith Sr. and Miss Tracy Woodson Smith. Miss Tracy.
Hello everyone, my name is Tracy Woodson Smith. I'm the mother of Kevin Leon Smith Jr.
Can you say that again so they can hear you?
Hi, my name is Tracy Woodson Smith. I'm the mother of Kevin Leon Smith Jr. My son was incarcerated at Harris County with no health issues. I had to receive a call from the inside of a friend that knew him, reached out to their mother to contact me on social media to find out that my son was deceased. Later, I'm started calling Harris County. No one is answering the phones. So finally, I had called my son's lawyer. He called up here and got a call back with me within 5 minutes saying the allegations are true. Your son is deceased. No one called to tell me he was deceased. No one called and told me he was transported to Bentorb Hospital. From word that I know of, my son was already gone. He was just laying in a bunk. So I want foot cameraage. I want to know who was the guards working. I want to know who was watching the switchboard. Kevin was in an open cell with more inmates. I want to know what went on with my son. Only call I got was at 1:40 stating, I'm sorry for your loss. You could come pick up his property.
My Lord.
But y'all couldn't call to tell me he was transported. Supposedly you saying he had an asthma attack. I'm the birth mother.
Right.
When I called up here, they say my son was transported to TDC. You cannot transfer a body that haven't been charged with a case, for one. Then when I kept asking, oh, we cannot speak with you because you're not the next of kin. I'm his mother, so I'm the next of kin. An officer put me on hold, transferred the phone finally hung up. When I called back, oh, we cannot speak with you, Mom. You have to prove that you the mother. Yeah. Then y'all told me my son was already transported to forensic off OST. Called OST, they never had my son's body.
My Lord.
I got in touch with a funeral home. The lady from the funeral home helped me. She called up there and they stated I had to sign a form to release his body. When I released his body, the lady said, well, I have his body. I went up to the funeral home to look at my baby being deceased. The footages that I have is not an asthma attack. And I want answers and I want justice. I will not stop until I rock everything. Everybody in Harris County, I feel that you understaffed, but if you're understaffed, why house the inmates in there?
Amen.
My son was shipped to Gales Darby unit where I was able to see him on a tablet. The words came out of here, Mama, I hate I'm locked up, but I'm living good. I can see y'all, I can see my daughter. I'm eating good. We ain't got to worry about not getting our hygienists. We ain't got to worry about sleeping on floors. We ain't got to worry about the establishments up in here. Half the stuff that he was calling saying was going on in Harris County, I was trying to get my son home quick. The day I talked to him was January the 30th. The last call was at 9:42 before the phones hung up. Then I get a call on social media January the 31st at 11 a.m. stating my son was deceased. I need answers. And it's sad.
It is very sad. Mr. Smith, do you want to say a word?
I know what you have, my brother.
On behalf of your brother and your son, your whole family.
How y'all doing? My name is Kevin Smith Sr. I'm the father of Kevin Smith. Gary Wayne Smith was my big brother. My son called and he said, Pops, I just seen Uncle Gary passing by. He spoke to me. An hour after my son hung up with me, we got a call saying my brother was dead. Said my brother died of a seizures. My brother didn't have seizures.
My Lord.
He didn't have seizures. But they say he died of it. That's what he died from.
My Lord.
Kevin loved music. He was a line dance teacher. He was a Zydeco. Deepwood Riders. You know, they're gonna always keep that name strong. We're gonna keep that going on. Deepwood Riders gonna stand forever. As long as I got breath in my body, I'm gonna make sure he ride, and I need some justice for my son and my brother. We just need this done. Harris County, y'all need some help. They need some help, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And the final people you hear from is a family that has been standing up for justice for others since they lost their son, Warren Randall and Tiffany, not Randall, Rochelle, and they lost their son, Jalen Randall. They'll briefly address you while they're here, and then we'll try to take some of your questions. Mr. Warren Randall, Ms. Tiffany Rochelle.
Good morning. I'm here in solidarity with these families because in Houston we have a real problem. This is the fourth largest city in America. We're more worried, the politicians and the policing agencies are more worried about March Madness and the Final Four, but it's been a madness already inflicted on our people and our communities forever. The politicians, the policing agencies sweep everything under the rug, but now it's time for total transparency for all these activities and things that are happening. This can't continue to happen in this city. We're composed of too many entities, too many things are happening that are just being swept under the rug. And so we want to bring notoriety and attention to the things that are happening, whether you're unarmed, whether you've been apprehended or whether you're already apprehended. It seems like young black men and men of color are at risk of not coming out alive, whether they're arresting you or whether you're already incarcerated within the Harris County system. It seems to be a big problem. And no one wants to address this. The politicians, the agencies which are supposed to support and have our backs are the ones that are killing us. And so right now, everybody needs to be held accountable. All these smiles and handshaking and kissing baby this time, that's over with. The constituents of this city need your help, and you're supposed to be here to support them. This is what we voted you in office for, and this is what you're supposed to do, protect and serve us.
Tell them why.
Thank you.
Tiffany, do you want to say a word?
My name is Tiffany Rochelle. I'm the mother of Jalen Randall. All I have to say at this point, do something. Do something quick, do something now. We can't continue to go through this, and we're gonna fight. We're not going nowhere, so you will see our face all the time, and we're gonna support every family that we possibly can in Houston, Texas, whatever it takes. we're going to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Thank you so much, Warren, and we continue to pray for justice for Jalen Randall as well. At this time, we're going to take a few of your questions if you have any. Attorney Granke and I will try to answer the bulk of them, but if there's a question that a family member can answer, we will try to have them answered. Are there any questions?
So, can you talk about your efforts you and the family have done so far to try to get that video evidence from the jail, and also have any conversations with Sheriff Gonzalez himself?
Well, I know we sent letters of representation and requests for discovery to be preserved. I'll let Attorney Grinke talk about that. I know in our letter to the Department of Justice, we're asking them to start their own investigation. We don't want them to use the Texas Rangers investigation. We want their own investigation. We want them to get the videos themselves and make sure they can analyze the video. Attorney Grinke?
Mr. Crump is right. Yeah, we on all of these cases, we immediately write to the Sheriff's Department and to the county, to Harris County, and ask for any and all evidence. We ask that it be preserved. We ask them to share it with the family if they don't want to give it to us right away, pending an investigation. Invite the families in and let them see it. Talk to them so that they're not in the dark. In every one of these cases here in Harris County, we have hit a brick wall. They send a request to the Attorney General, asking the Attorney General to find that they do not have to share this information with us while there's a pending government investigation. Other jurisdictions around the state have done exactly that, brought the families in at least, and let the family know what's going on, that it's not happening here.
And I know Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lear is going to try to meet with the families, and hopefully the sheriff will feel compelled to address these families. I know from everybody doing a survey here, nobody has talked to the sheriff directly. They've all talked to the chaplain, and that's been it, to say your loved one has died in our custody. And then what they keep telling everybody, as Ms. Smith said, both Ms. Smiths, they keep saying it's an investigation. Like Attorney Grinke said, investigation is ongoing, but that doesn't mean you can't release these videos. And I mean, you got families who've been waiting now for almost a year, since the beginning of 2022, with no answers whatsoever. And the fact that they have charged a deputy, we believe, is a signal that there's more brutality that has happened. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a fire going on in Harris County Jail with all of these people dying in your custody. Any other questions?
Sure. I just wanted to ask, I feel like every time we speak to these elected officials, they tell us that it's a systemic problem. They say, you know, the DA's office is involved and there's overcrowding at the jail, and that's why this is happening. Kind of, how do you respond to that? Do you want the whole system sort of removed and started over? What do you see? Where does the responsibility here lie?
Well, I think these families said it best. If you can't keep our family members alive, shut it down. If that was your daughter or your son or your spouse, and they went in on a charge of a crime, nobody's convicted, and they're thinking, well, we'll go in, we will get our due process, we'll have our day in court to show we're innocent, but in the meantime, you're beat to death? I mean, if that was your loved one, you would say, no, shut this down until you can guarantee us that my loved one isn't going to die at the hands of the people who's supposed to protect them. And so these politicians can't keep hiding behind words like it's systemic, that we have an investigation going on. No, as Tiffany and these families expressed, you need to do something now. I love how Octavia said, we don't just want justice for our family, we want change. We want change so this doesn't have to happen to anybody else. And it's disproportionately black and brown people. You know, you have to ask, is that the reason it's not being taken so seriously?
What about autopsies? Have you guys gotten any autopsy reports back, and what's that process been like to get the cause of death?
No, right now we're doing independent.
Well, Again, that's exactly one of the problems. We've asked for autopsy results in every one of these cases, and they won't share it with the families. There's a pending investigation. They can't even give the families that one piece of information that might help them process this.
I want to applaud District Attorney Kim Ogg having the conviction to charge the guard with manslaughter. It is our hope that her office will look at each and every one of these cases and take it to the grand jury and bring charges with the video evidence. If you got ocular proof, just like we talked about in Tyree Nichols, Arthur, you know, once you got proof that the police engaged in excessive force of a citizen, that they committed a crime, it shouldn't take, 6 months, a year, 2-year investigation. Because we did see when it was those black officers in Memphis, Tennessee, in less than 20 days, they were terminated, arrested, and charged. And so that's the blueprint now. That is the blueprint. So they can't tell us this investigation is going to take, a year when you got video. If this was any one of their family members and you had video of them killing somebody, do you think it would take them a long investigation? So why do we change the rules when it's law enforcement? You got the video. I got to believe every part of that jail got video covering it. Get it to Kim Ogg's office. Let's go ahead. And I think it bears repeating. As the chief of police in Memphis said, once they saw the video, it was important for the community to see that swift action was being taken, that they were being swiftly brought to justice. Well, as we said, whether it's black officers or white officers, the community needs to see that it's swift action being taken, that they're being brought swiftly to justice, not just when it's black officers, when it's white, when it's any officer. It's important to our community to see swift action. One last question, if you have one.
When you say you want takeover, or when you say you want to shut the jail down, does that mean having it taken over by another agency, or having charges dismissed, or what does change look like?
Well, change looks like the powers that be saying to the sheriff, the county commission, hey, if we cannot keep the citizens safe, then we need to make plans to have somebody else come run the jail. It's that simple. We gotta keep citizens safe. These are citizens. I know they have been charged with a crime, but last time I read the United States Constitution, it said innocent until proven guilty. We will keep you updated. Hopefully when they have the meeting with the Congresswoman, we will be able to report back to you all that an investigation has been opened by the Department of Justice on the federal level. Attorney Grinke and I will come as we get results of some of these independent autopsies that we will share with you. And we say to any and all other families who have died in custody at the Harris County Sheriff's Department, please contact us, please come forward. As a family member said, why haven't others come forward? A lot of times when you are a marginalized person of color, you start to lose hope. You say, why come forward? Nobody seems to care. Well, we do care, and we believe that there are power in numbers. Come and join Deborah Smith, the mother of Christian Smith. Come and join Tracy Woodson Smith and Kevin Smith Sr., the parents of Kevin Smith Jr. and the relative of Gary Smith. Come and join Jacoby Pillar and Octavia Wagner, the sisters of Jacoby Pillar. The more numbers we get, the harder it is to sweep it under the rug. Justice for all these families. Don't say no more, just show us the video. Thank you.
Show us the video.
Don't say no more. Show us the video. Don't say no more. Show us the video. Don't say no more.
Show us the video.
Don't say no more.
Show us the video.
Don't say no more.
Show us the video.
Thank you.